Hello, everyone. Hello, Linda.
Hi.
We're back to talk about the latest, the latest crazy thing.
Posted your video from yesterday. It was spot on what you said with the Mars aspect, and it looked like we were going to go into a war situation, which you said wasn't going to work out very good for him.
No, it's there, but that is the Mars, which he's already like that by birth. This guy's not a peacemaker. He's pretending. This whole thing about peace. He's more like he wants a prize. He wants to be told that he's good at something, but his impulse is caught. That's why he uses words like domination and all of that. He wants to make aggressive moves, and especially if he thinks that he might get a win, he might get some kind of short-term result, like what he got when he last did this. But it didn't last long. When he last hit Iran, that was not
Yeah.
all that
Well, did
helpful.
his numbers go up a little bit
When?
with when he hit Iran before?
Nah, it
Okay.
didn't. It didn't do anything. It's all short-term. Do something quick, and there's probably a Netanyahu angle because Netanyahu really needs this more than Trump. He needs to have the country in a real state of war, because if you think about it, in the US, I mean, Trump says things like they have intercontinental missiles, they're going to shoot at us. This is BS. This is complete nonsense.
Oh, Netanyahu's been saying they have nukes that are going to hit us for the past 30 years.
No, but I mean, for Netanyahu, they're in the region. Missiles do fly over. It's more dangerous. He's counting on that, keeping him in power. He's mistaken, because this is the year when all the Saturn, you know, lands on him, and he's going into an election. I've seen this script so many times before. You go into a situation where you want a result, and the Saturn is too close, and you get turned down, right? And it's like that. And for Trump, this to me looks like a repeat of back in the previous term. He started to go down in 18, 19 because the Saturn came in, right? And by
Hmm.
20, it was a total disaster. He's repeating the same thing again, only worse, in that he's made bigger moves that are damaging the country more, because all of this is making so many countries, turn against the U.S. and not trust the
Oh, I
U.S.
know. They're all
Yeah.
like, "Hey, listen, Netanyahu took off. They have his plane
Mhm.
tracker, and he took off. He went to go land in Cyprus, and they closed it down and said, no, you can't land here. So now he's circling.
Yeah, isn't it amazing? We were saying how these leaders, they're they make themselves they isolate themselves so that they'll be safe, but the people are the ones suffering. And it's the same in Iran. I'm sure the Ayatollah is hiding somewhere because he's known. I mean, if the Ayatollah has any brains at all, he sees this massive armada parked on the doorstep. Like, that was a
Well,
total
they said he
total
hasn't been
fake.
seen for 3 or 4 weeks.
Sure, it makes sense. Would you? I mean, if you
No.
saw that many
And why
battleships,
is Trump at Mar-a-Lago? I don't understand. Well, there's more security at the White House.
he's probably playing golf. I mean, Trump is not hard to understand, although he's starting to sound more and more like the Trump that was when he was having, when he was on his back foot, because he posted this thing on his Truth antisocial Twitter, fake thing. He said that the Supreme Court should reconsider its decision. The Supreme Court never reconsiders its decisions.
No.
This is like where you see the system becoming more and more difficult for him to overturn, because that's the American system. It includes the fact that here's where the fact that there are all these different states is protective, because states will protect themselves, stand up for themselves, and especially resist his urges, to get into the voting and all that. Uh, and they'll throw it in court and so forth. And this is, by the way, it's in his chart. I mean, that's the house where all the action is, and he keeps doing things that are related to that zone. It's doomed to fail. He
And he's
might get.
saying he doesn't have the money to pay back everybody.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I know.
But in the meantime, he's got offshore accounts that are fat. Now,
Yeah.
listen, didn't we as the United States hit some really big losers with their offshore accounts? We were able to freeze them down. We talked to that country and we have them freeze the account down. We did it with Putin.
Oh, yeah. Well, there'll be some of that going on in the background. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But, um, this is still, when all is said and done, for now, I mean, obviously, and by the way, in the astrology, we're still in a zone, at least until May, where you could get some other thing, some other catastrophic thing happening, right? We have to be careful. It's possible. Like, for example, the market. I don't feel the market is safe yet. The stock market, because there's a lot of weight being put on AI, and now they're arguing with you notice that thing, right, with Anthropic.
Yeah, but that's not beyond Anthropic. Other AI companies said we have the red line too.
Well, exactly. So there's uncertainty there, and the reason I say this is because if you say the Saturn is bad for Trump's chart, it is, but it's not great for the U.S. either. The U.S. is a Cancer country, and the Saturn is squaring. By the way, Iran. If you look at Iran's chart for the revolution in 1979, which is the chart for Iran, because that's what it's been since then, since April 1st, 79, 3 p.m. That's the chart that most astrologers use. That chart's getting hit with a lot of Saturn. So, well, it's good, but it's not that good either, because that's telling you the country is probably suffering. It's probably getting restricted. It's probably getting held back. So they have to wait. Iran, I think it's maybe next year when the Uranus gets further in, because that's more of a liberating kind of energy. This is not very good, the zone they're in right now. But it's also the U.S. The U.S. is...
What about Israel? Did you look at them at all?
Israel itself is not too bad. It's Netanyahu that is in a bad zone, right? So to me, he goes into that election in I think it's in August, I believe, when they have their election.
Uh-huh.
Not good. Now, there's still, we're still in March, so there's still plenty of time for more things to develop.
Yeah.
But he's counting on this. I don't know. Because how do you change? Now they're saying, well, regime change. Trump is hoping that he throws some bombs and then the Iranians get rid of the mullahs and they install a government. How is that going to work? Like, usually it gets replaced by people that already have power and they have connections, and they're usually part of
and
the
there's
same regime.
200,000 of those soldiers with weapons.
It's hard as heck to pull that off. So
93 million Iranians. It's a huge. It's too big,
yeah,
tough.
and
But how long do you think this war will last, or do you get any sense? Is it long, or is it so-so?
that one is it's hard to gauge. All I know is that it doesn't play to Trump's advantage or even the U.S. advantage. It just doesn't seem like that. That doesn't make much sense to me at all. It doesn't play. At minimum, like now we're going toward the March 3rd is the full moon, and it just feels like at least we got to get into next week. They'll probably be still bombing more for some
Well,
time.
I feel that he's desperate to switch it around, and the hit I got psychically was because his numbers fall even more, crater, and that the stock market's going to drop even more, gas prices, and America is fuming, and he's desperate. You know how he was when he said he was going to bomb Greenland, and then our stock market started to drop and he changed his mind?
Mm.
It'll be like that. I changed my mind, but it's not so easy to turn around.
But then if it turns out that way, and it could very easily, for sure. The planet zone is 100% with the idea of setbacks. So then he comes out like with his tail between his legs, because that would be a total loss. Like, how do you spin that? So.
Oh, he's gone with how bad they treated the people. You're killing people over here in the United States too. And
Oh no,
American
absolutely.
citizens, and you want to change their regime. We want to change your regime. We want to get you out of there.
Yeah, no, it's true, and it's the timing is very complicated for him because in his own base, there are quite a few people that don't like this because he said he would never do things like this. And now he's
Yes.
Venezuela. He's even
Martha
talking about
Taylor
Cuba.
Greene wrote a scathing thing on it. Yeah.
And you've heard him talk about Cuba. He started saying, oh, we could do, it's out of his mind. So all of this doesn't play well. And it's in the midst of, he's also saying the economy's great, but it's only great for the people that are already really rich. For the other people, it's not so great. The inflation is constantly ticking up. So it's not a good zone. And, you know, and he can't put soldiers on the ground. That would be a total disaster. So then, I don't see how this is good. I just don't, you know. And the
So-
timing, you know, the astrology timing would be the kind of thing that an astrologer would say to you, don't do this. You're going on your Mercury. By the way, Mercury is retrograde as he does this thing. That's another great sign telling you,
Nothing's going to work out.
no, it's just very, very poor, you know, choice. Sometimes people say, oh, Trump has astrologers. No, he doesn't. Astrologers, that's a
You
joke.
wouldn't listen to an astrologer.
No, of course. No.
But did you take a look-see at Putin?
Yeah, Putin is in the same zone, even though he's in the background now. Putin has a lot of Saturn this year and next year. And when you look at his situation, it's the classic, he spent years now spending and putting like something like 40% of the Russian economy is tied up in the war. So they're not going to have any money. They're going to be completely broke. And then they're going to have to change their tune. And Ukraine's not going to give up because it's their country. So they'll just keep fighting till, you know.
Zelensky came out and gave a scathing report on Iran. He hates Iran. He said they helped Putin. A lot of their weapons were the weapons that were used against them by Putin. So he hates Iran.
Yeah, but Putin is not helping Iran from what I hear. So
Oh, I know. And he said he would help them. But China gave them some ballistic missile, gave Iran some ballistic missile.
yeah, but you can't, the thing is, you can't really give enough support to offset a major US attack. That's just not going to work, right? So but either way, for Putin, the situation isn't good. It's just that you have to keep in mind, yes, there are times when, I mean, and it can happen, sure. It could happen that in June or something you hear like how, you know, suddenly in Romania they took down the Tsar or something. But more likely is that it's a steady drip, drip, drip where you just, you know, you go down and then at some point it breaks, you know, completely.
Right.
And that could be this year, it could be next year. He's in the zone and it's not a good zone. No, it's
Yeah, so it's
complicated.
weird. You got Putin, you got Netanyahu and Trump, all with these big Saturn aspects.
Yeah, with Saturn problems. Exactly. That's exactly it. You know, and
You know, I wanted to tell everybody, I did a video yesterday, but I want to tell you guys, I don't remember the woman's name that RFK Jr. wanted to put into the NH, whatever, the National Health Organization or whatever RFK runs. She was somebody that worked with him. And she's spiritual and she's not really a doctor anymore. And, you know, she's up there lying like the rest of them. And I want to tell you that my strong hit is that she won't get enough votes.
well, it's entirely possible. The other thing about RFK, because this one I think to myself, okay, so is his chart because it's in pretty bad shape as we go toward
His chart?
Yeah, RFK's chart, he, like many of the people surrounding this guy. But then you think, with RFK, you think, I mean, really, he's not, it'd be an indirect thing if it's the Iran war problem or the economy. He's in the health sector. So with him, it could be a something like a woman issue because that the house where it's happening, it has this double meaning. One side of it is health, pure health, in which case you then think maybe there's a measles breakout or, you know, some kind of health thing that he's precipitated because he's always doing things that are pretty risky. But it could also be a hidden love interest that pops up. So I'm curious what it is that puts him in such a bad place. unless the final thing would be that all of them are just in a terrible place because the administration is doing really poorly. But I have a sense that with him, it would be his own, something in his own,
And
in his
I
own
feel
domain.
like, especially that doctor who's a senator, was so disappointed in RFK. He went ahead and gave him the yes nod, and then he turned around and did things he swore he wasn't going to do.
Well,
So he's not going to believe a word this woman has to say.
I mean, you know what? The GOP is filled with people like this, though. People that say, "Oh, like everybody's making fun of Susan Collins because
I know.
Susan
He
Collins,
learned his lesson.
someone will drop a bomb somewhere, and Susan Collins says, "Well, I'm concerned. Yeah, I know you're concerned, but I mean, how about doing something about it?" Because many times she went along, and then, oh, he's learned his lesson. He's learned his lesson, right?
Yeah, and then I saw Lindsey Graham said anybody who dies for this cause is a hero. Against Iran, they're a hero. I said, well, why don't you go die for the cause then,
Yeah.
Mr.
Now,
Hero?
that kind of thing is almost certainly like you can already expect by next week, they're going to be taking polls.
Oh, that's what I'm feeling too. I'm
Yeah,
feeling
exactly.
20s. I'm feeling 20s.
Exactly. So then, I mean, this thing is going to, I think, constantly funnel into the fact that then he goes back to the only thing he's got left, which is we got to figure out how to rig the vote somehow. What do we do?
Oh, he's going to desperately do that. And I keep telling people, and people make me question myself, but everybody's so afraid. I mean, that talk about we're gonna announce that China was interfering. No, bullpucky. But I really feel that that we're still going to have the vote.
Mhm.
But I feel it's such a landslide that that last one they had, the blue won 70%.
Mhm.
So I love it. It's we're really going to take it. Now Texas, I can't say with great strength because there's such cheaters in Texas, as long as those guys are still in charge. But I do see Paxton out.
Paxton not winning.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. That could very well be because when I was looking at the Paxton Cornyn race and that other guy, there's a third guy, so there's a three-way race. But as soon as I only have the birthday for Paxton. I don't know the birth time, so there are a couple of things I don't know. But
Just look for someone that's having horrid things happen because of terrible divorce and
right, but he's in the lead as far as the at least some of the
numbers.
polls, right? But it's close. It's close, and the problem he has is that they're doing the primary right now. I think very soon in a few days.
I think this Tuesday they'll announce it.
Yeah, and it didn't look to me. It looked like it's again Saturn. There's too much Saturn there. When I see the Saturn,
But the other thing is, maybe Paxton wins the primaries, but he's not going to win the seat.
I actually think that he might have a problem in the primary already. I mean, we'll see. This is coming up, but to me, it looks dicey. That on first glance, he would need to have something from his birth time to save him. And the theory, according to the analysis, is that he's more Paxton is more MAGA, more Trumpy, and he Paxton is the type of person that you remember when Trump was saying Tylenol, don't take Tylenol. So then Paxton immediately sues Tylenol, to show his people, look, see, I'm really Trumpy. Where Cornyn is more normal, as normal as you can be, because
Right.
Texas people.
There's people who've worked in administration that said he's actually kind of a nice guy.
Well, relatively. I mean, I never. The GOP to me is such a disappointment because whenever I'll see one of them doing something halfway decent, like Chuck Grassley was saying, hey, we passed this law about you have to release the files. Come on, that's a good thing. But then I think back to some of the things he's done, like when a few years ago, I remember they had some really terrible news. And he went on Fox News to say, the IRS is coming to your house with machine guns to, I remember thinking, are you insane? I mean, are you guys, seriously, are you going to talk like this?
That's how they roll.
Well, it's just extremely sad. So
Thank God most Americans got some smarts. People are like, what? The only ones that believe them are the ones that are in the backwoods of someplace.
Yeah, well, I mean, unfortunately, maybe there are a lot of people like that. I mean, in a way, the most discouraging thing is when you find out that in quite a few polls, he's still getting 40% approval, and you think 40%, this is crazy,
Well, he's down to 37, but okay.
Yeah, no, but okay, what? I mean, it's in a zone where you think he should be in the 20s
Yeah,
at
you
best.
wonder who's that other 37%. But don't forget the rich people love him.
Oh, yeah, yeah, it's true. It's true. But then see, you get into this thing where if you start getting really discouraged because you find out he just engineered this thing so that Netflix isn't getting Warner Brothers, it's going to be Paramount, right? So the scheme is that working with Ellison, then they can grab CNN and turn CNN into Fox. But if you do that, if you start getting CNN is right wing, Fox is right wing, yeah, but your audience is smaller, right? So you're basically creating this zone where, yeah, your people are going to watch that, but 60% of the country is going to go somewhere else. So
Yeah.
it ultimately doesn't work out,
Let
but in
me
the
tell
near
you,
term, it
when I
might.
heard that, intuitively, I picked up that it was going to fail. It's still not a done deal, but intuitively, well, actually, a senator wrote, a Democratic senator wrote and told, as whatever his name is,
Ellison.
oh, yeah, you guys think you're going to get a conglomerate and take over all these places. Trust me, when we take over, we're going to break it up in pieces,
Yeah, yeah, I
which
mean,
they could do.
yeah, oh, yeah, no, for sure. I mean, and it tends to be that way that if you look at political patterns over the years, whenever you have a conservative government in power in the US, they start to allow companies, the bigger they are, they let them eat up all the other companies. And when Democrats are in power, they start working with antitrust. In fact, do you remember when Clinton back in the 90s, he was giving Microsoft a really hard time because Microsoft was trying to
Yes.
basically take over everybody. And then as soon as you get a Republican in charge, they go the
Right.
other way. So it's the idea that Republicans believe the money should be held by a few, the money and the control, and Democrats want to, equalize it more. And the problem they have there is, and this is in the astrology too, the overall big pattern. It's just that the problem is it doesn't happen right away, and it drives people crazy because they'll say, yeah, you're saying this, but right now it feels like the opposite is happening. I know, but cycles take a while to unfold. This is not going in their direction. It's going the other way. It's going toward equalizing things, right? It's just a zone we're in where it's sorting itself out. It takes a little longer. That's the
Right.
Pluto. Pluto in Aquarius is not friendly to fascists and people that want to control from the top. It doesn't
Right.
work, right? But it takes a while.
As you were talking, sometimes when you're talking, I get hits. Um, I get this feeling, and I'm just going to talk what I saw, and you guys take it whatever, and then remind me because I'll forget. But I get this feeling like Iran has got these groups, these specialized group, just like Israel does. But I don't see Israel or Putin and his homies getting any rest. And by that I mean they're going to create something, they're going to cause such chaos or even assassination attempts that people are panicked. People aren't comfortable. That's what I got, okay? I'm just going to tell you what I got.
Yeah.
The United States is too far, but I can see them doing it to Israel.
Yeah, I mean that zone is so hot, so complicated, that it
But Putin and Netanyahu, I'm telling you, I think by the end of this year, if they're not gone, we can see the outcomes coming.
yeah, no, for sure. For sure. Then the next thing, I mean, what I do with this is that I track how the whatever month it is, if there's a planetary hit that's really close, I track to see what kind of action is happening, right? And
Right.
then that tells me what is likely to follow next, based on all of that. It's the logic of like how that planet that was discovered in 2005, Eris, it seems to be so tied into the Epstein files.
Really?
Is why, yeah, it's why in July last year it broke open, and then this year in January, made another station. And at first I thought, why isn't this more, and then, but it took like a week or two and then boom, like by the end of
Do you
January.
see anything else coming up?
Oh yeah, there was another one in July. Another, like it keeps happening, but now this time it seems to not even have it, like it's completely now taken over. So what that tells you is that the summer is even worse. It just goes up another notch.
Well, Iran keeps saying we have the tapes, we have the files. You bomb us, we're releasing them. They're not releasing nothing.
No, I mean, a lot of times they talk too, though. I mean, people will say Putin has this, Putin has that. For one thing, sometimes when they release, if they have something, they can give up their power. Or, they might have to wait for a better time. It's too complicated. But whichever way wherever it comes from, it's not a good situation. I'm telling you.
I feel it's coming from another country. I don't feel it's inside the U.S.
That could very well be. See, this is where all the action in Trump's chart is in the 9th, which is where foreign countries, foreign governments, as well as judicial decisions, which is why the Supreme Court did what they did, because people are constantly saying, no, it was not really a true decision. It was just to distract. That's an actual decision they made where they said, no, you can't do this. They did it because they're a different branch of government. You can be conspiratorial and think that everybody's in on it,
and
right?
It was illegal, period.
Yeah, exactly. So then you think about the current situation with the voting is nothing other than a battle between lawyers and judges. That's what it is. Because then people will say, no, Trump will just send the military in. I'm skeptical of that.
No.
That makes very little sense to me. He's doing some of that.
I remember when they tried to say, and if you're standing in line to vote, you'll get in trouble if you hand a bottle of water or any food to someone in line.
Yeah, no, and it didn't.
I just heard something again. The whisper just told me there's 2 more decisions coming up from the Supreme Court that are really going to knock Trump on his ass.
Well, the 2 that I'm thinking of that are really big. One is the 14th Amendment, birthright citizenship, and the second one is the Voting Rights Act. But I don't know about the Voting Rights Act. That one, but many times, by the way, these guys signal, like they'll do those pre-decision things where they tell us the judges are being questioned by the lawyers, they're going back and forth. Nearly always, what you hear there then comes out, because when the tariffs, they were talking last year and most people said these tariffs are gone. Trump was the only one who thought that maybe they were going to help him out. The way they were asking questions didn't look good. So on the citizenship amendment, that'll probably survive.
Yeah.
But the voting rights, I don't know, because the questions were not good. It sounded like they were.
Can you tell me the gist of what that is about, that particular?
Which one?
The voting rights.
Well, the voting rights is that if you diminish it, it's already been diminished more than once. Then the GOP tries to take advantage and they start manipulating things so that they get more votes.
That's like
in
the SAVE
different
Act
states.
they tried to pass and it didn't go through.
Right. So, but to me, none of that matters. There's still enough vote there, plain and simple. That they can't figure it out by November, which is the whole key, right? That's the.
They could hold it. But the other one I was thinking that was going to go against him is that Lisa Cook. I think they're going to tell him you can't fire her.
Oh yeah, no, that one, sure, yeah, I could see that 100%, sure.
But
Because
they're furious.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, to be honest, I'm amazed.
They made him put those slavery things back up. That was wonderful.
Yeah, I'm amazed that he's still around and he hasn't, because the way he lives, in constant tension, he spends his entire life golfing, then sitting on the toilet, tweeting,
He hasn't
nasty
been
things.
golfing lately. You haven't seen him on a golf cart because he can't. He's physically unable to.
Yeah, no, he's definitely There's no question he's on the decline. That there's no question. And by the
Even
way,
during the thing, he said, I may not live much longer. He said that.
that's right. And you can bet that, because he spends his life checking in on himself on TV, and he knows what the papers are saying. And one of the things that came out of the State of the Union was that he didn't look very vital and strong. And as soon as you start saying that, he gets really angry.
That upsets him.
And then it's like, but the way he solves it is, okay, I'll go and do rallies and so forth. None of this helps your health, for one thing, but it's hard to fake it. I mean, it really is,
Yeah.
So
And he's fallen asleep at every meeting.
yeah, and he probably whenever he needs to show up more awake, he probably takes more Adderall
Yeah.
or something
which
like
doesn't
that.
help his health. Yeah.
But that's not good. That anytime it's like you're borrowing against your vitality, and eventually it can catch up with you. So, and by the way, it's there. I mean, that's the whole point. That the thing about the Saturn in his chart, I keep repeating this. One side of it is for sure the Epstein thing, no question. It's connected
That's really
to that.
one of the big factors.
But it's in the health house. It's in there. It lives there. That planet, when it circulates, it can get you from that. And the older you are, the more risk.
The harder it's going to hit.
Yeah, it's just more. It's how it works. So it's those two things are happening simultaneous.
Yeah, we're one day away from March, and it's only 3 months till his birthday, and he'll be 80.
Yeah, and this is an individual thing, because Bernie is older and he looks a lot more vital. And you saw Hillary is only a year and 2 or 3 months older than him, and Hillary's totally there.
Hillary's older than Bernie or than Trump?
Hillary's younger than Trump, but only by a year and a bit. She's 79.
Oh, it's night and day.
She'll be 79 in October, I believe. So, but she to me seems like someone who's maybe more like 70, very sharp.
Yeah,
Like at 79, she is much sharper than Biden was at 79.
Yeah.
Much sharper. Now, of course, he hasn't been under the same pressures and all that, but nevertheless, there's a world of difference. With Trump, you
What do you
see
think
his
about
decline.
Clinton? I believe him. I think he didn't know that Epstein, because Epstein was probably careful about telling the president of the United States he assaults young women.
Yeah, although the only thing with Clinton is that he has a lot of Libra planets, which means the Saturn is bothering him still this year and next year. Now, of course, this is where you could point to maybe he'll have health problems and it might manifest
He's
that
going to
way.
have health problems.
That might be it.
I've been feeling that.
But it's not an easy zone for him at the moment either, right?
I even have often thought that he would pass definitely before Hillary. But whatever he said, they're running with it and they think he's a hero. Trump thinks he's fantastic. He exonerated me. No, he didn't. He just said he didn't really know, and he thought the reason they had the breakup was because of a real estate transaction.
Are you talking about
But Trump said he left Epstein because he found out what he does. But the original story was that he turned around and bought a property Epstein wanted to buy, and Epstein was furious at him.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's all there. The only, I mean, like all this information has been published, it's known. The only thing is that Trump has succeeded in creating this environment, or maybe it's not even Trump, maybe it's just this zone the country's in, because the country's in a low tide for sure, right? Where these kinds of things would have knocked people down already, because it's so clear that the elephant in the room is that Trump is probably the biggest criminal in the whole group. Why is he mentioned so many times? Why? Like, what is he like? Was he like an observer? Was he?
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah, I mean, if you're mentioning the guy, what are the odds? And then why is it so surprising that suddenly you get some news and there's a 13-year-old child, involved?
Who testified against you. Yeah.
Right. That shouldn't be surprising. It's the way he plays. It's been known since forever.
Yeah, but they don't believe the women. They don't touch the women, but they're willing to drag Hillary and Bill Clinton in for a deposition. The president of the United States. And so, but basically they opened that up. So now we can bring Melania in and Trump.
Yeah, yeah, no, although remember that if you remember to the last term when he was president in 16 to 20, you remember that the Democrats took over the House at the end of 18, and then they started issuing subpoenas, and they never followed any of them. And that was when they just refused. So this is where
Jordan refused. Yeah, I remember.
right. So you have to be realistic and realize that democracy moves slowly. Even if it's the best system, it moves slowly. So, I mean, think of it this way. If someone told you a year and a half ago, January, right? Go back to January. If they told you all the things that were going to happen till now, you would have thought, wow, that's a lot. That seems pretty good. But now that you're here, you're thinking, no, it's not enough. I want more. Okay, fine. So now you get the election. Even a win there, don't expect the GOP to start behaving.
They thumb their nose up.
No, I mean,
but there will be criminal charges coming.
Oh, sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, but the biggest risk there is in a new administration, because right now, who prosecutes? Pam Bondi. Good luck with that, right?
Yeah.
You're waiting for her to do what? You know, she says, no, look at the market. The market is really high.
Well, I felt for a while one of the naval ships catching on fire. So I don't know if a bomb's going to hit it, but a naval yard did get hit.
Mm-hmm.
And I see blood being spilled, American blood being spilled. So maybe not a massive amount, but, you know, America doesn't tolerate that. And they'll blame Trump for it.
Yeah, no, if there's even a mild setback of any kind, because the last time they did it, it was a clean in and out back in whenever it was, mostly symbolic. This is bigger.
Even Iran went along with it. Yeah, you destroyed it. Bye.
Yeah. We'll have to track. I mean, probably. My guess here is that this thing will likely go upward and peak going into next week with the full moon. You know, because those moons tend to do that. You get this thing where you go to the peak and then on the other side it starts to subside. But from the vantage point of him getting advantage.
Oh, wait till you see the No Kings March. When is that? March 18th or something like that?
I think it's later in March than that. Oh yeah, no, that'll for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be bigger than before.
For sure, yeah, for sure, and then they'll say that it was filled with paid. Yeah, I know.
Paid, yeah.
I was at one of those.
March itself. This is the 28th of February. March itself. Did you kind of look at the aspects for March, or?
March is the Saturn inching forward, and as an example, the people that have the really early planets. That's why Paxton looks vulnerable, because he's got a planet there in the early degrees, so he's vulnerable. Or someone like Pam Bondi, definitely under a lot of pressure. Kristi Noem, because they have those early positions, right? And from that, you can kind of infer that the Justice Department is not popular, because he's not popular, and that there's probably something happening where there's probably the Epstein thing, you know, people making demands, you got to release more. And then Kristi Noem, she news that come out about her DHS, that's the immigration thing that is going on, right?
Yeah.
And so, and then that just leads into even further degrees as we go toward April, May, where it starts to draw more and more of these people in because they have planets a little later, right? Okay. But beyond that, I mean, if you're looking at, you're asking about March, in what sense are you saying? Like another war?
Just in general aspect. I do see a lot of weather issues coming up, but that's more April. But like even here, we were 28 degrees in the morning, freezing our pachikas off, and now it's 80 degrees. What the? Do you see what I'm saying? It's weird.
Yeah, it's been a strange year.
How
for
about
sure.
you guys?
No, here it's been milder than usual, because we've had a couple of, not even snow, like a bit of a snow thing one morning in the whole winter, and mostly mild temperatures. And when it got cold, only a few days in the 20s, where we were hearing that in the East, they were getting hit with, -1, like really -10 sometimes, big snowfalls. So no, here it's been totally fine. Like we can't really complain.
I heard from a friend in New York whose heart is broken about Mondandi because apparently he scooped up the snow or had people scoop up the snow and then he brought it back because they had no place to put it. And then he's now said he's going to have to raise. Remember, he said no more taxes, no more. Now he's raising taxes. And she said on property tax, she said, Linda, New York pays the highest property tax of anybody. And he's going to be raising taxes. I was a little surprised to hear that.
Well, when I looked at to me, it looked like he might be okay until next year because there's not a lot of pressure there. So we'll see. I mean, he is pretty.
Right now he's getting along good with Trump. There's got to be some reason Trump thinks he's great.
Well, they have nice astrology connections. So,
Okay.
That's one of the reasons, aside from the fact that with Trump, if you compliment him, blah, 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 but they have good alignments. So I could see totally why Trump would find them, interesting, charismatic and all that kind of thing. And then Mamdani figured him out. You create a thing saying something. He created it's like bringing a poster, saying, "Oh, you're so great," and then your friend goes, "Oh, you like me so much," and then all of that. So I think though next year, and even then, it may only be a bump. But a lot of politicians, and Mamdani now is a politician, they can say things.
I have to double check it, but it is from a person that lives in New York.
Right. No, and by the way, it's not that it isn't true. It's just that when you get into office, then you have to actually govern, pay the bills, and you can say I'm going to make everything free, but I mean I could tell you that too, and then I got to look at if I have enough money to be able to pay for it. So, yeah.
It breaks my heart because it's like Trump. It's all lies. They come in and it's all lies. But let me ask you one last question. So. They are, who is that gal that's so good? She wears glasses. She's a commentator and she's really good at what she does. She's letting everybody know who's getting money from Israel. And Jeffries and Schumer and Goldman, they're all getting checks from Israel. Fetterman.
Are you talking about the woman on Fox?
Richardson, I think is her last name.
Huh.
No, she's not on Fox.
Oh, you mean Heather Cox Richardson? Oh yeah. Well, she I trust a lot. She is.
I think she will cause damage because I am seeing, not now when the thing changes and we get new speakers. They may initially be the speaker, but I see enough pressure that either they have to disavow that money they're getting or they need to go.
So you're talking about the Israel money?
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's that's we're in a zone right now where
follow the money.
Yeah, and this is another thing that has infected the MAGA movement because you have the most staunch everything Israel is good supporters, and then you have a lot of anti-Semitic people, and they're fighting with one another.
Yeah.
So Israel overall is in a pretty hard zone as well,
But it's not all of Israel.
No, not all of Israel.
That little bunch that like to own you in some sort of way.
It never is. I mean,
they're the only ones. Israel's the only one that doesn't have any restrictions about what is that name when you go to Congress or you go to fight for your cause. They're the only ones that don't have any restrictions. They're the only ones that own a nuclear bomb while they're telling Iran they can't have one. And they own the bomb because they stole all the blueprints from the United States years ago. And they have no restriction on their nukes. They've signed no agreement. They are not all put into the same thing. This is all fact. You can look this up.
Well, okay. The only thing where I don't know that I agree. I don't know that they stole anything. I think the U.S. just gave it to them. The U.S. is a
Okay, well,
strong.
that's what they're saying. They said they stole the
The,
blueprint, if you know
the,
what I
the
mean.
U.S. is a strong ally of Israel, and it is true. Israel is, I think, it's the only country in the region that has the nuclear bomb. But I mean, remember that. I mean, not. I don't want to get into a thing where I'm defending Israel. I think they're all equally bad in multiple
Yeah,
ways. But Israel, they just don't want to be. The entire Middle East would want to kill them if they could, and because they have a nuclear weapon, they can say, "Don't even try it." Right?
yeah, yeah.
So, hey,
And
it's
so
just that.
does North Korea, and so does Putin. But the nuke issue, I think, is something that it just keeps people off each other's back. But who are we to tell Iran? You know what I'm saying? Who are we to tell any other nation what you can and can't have? We don't own Iran.
Yeah, I
I don't
agree. Yeah.
believe. I don't like how they treat their people at all,
Hmm.
and it's hard for me to even be saying, defending them. But who the hell are we? It's like when Americans came over here, or white man came over here and took off over my nation's people, the Native Americans, and then said where they could stand and where they could sleep and what they could eat, and cut off your hair and go to our schools and be Christian.
Yeah.
And the Japanese, they took the poor Japanese people that worked so hard for everything they had and took it all away because Japan did some bombing, and any Jap is any alive Jap or a dead Jap is the best Jap, or so that was the saying my dad said back in those days. Everybody hated the Japanese. It was very hard to walk around being Japanese.
Yeah, I mean, to that, all I can say is welcome to the world. I mean, I hate
It's
to
we've
tell you,
always
but
been angry, and then if it's not even like Native Americans taking over lands, look at the UK. Look at the English taking over, Scotland, and religions fighting against each other.
well, see, but the thing is, it's like you're not going to get a perfect thing. So, because
No,
this is how people then will say, well, the US is therefore as bad as everyone else. That's not true. You should be a little more sensible. Think about it. It's becoming bad because now Trump is making us like the
yeah,
Roman
but it was
Empire.
getting
We're
bad.
just going to go in. We're going to go in and just take things. The U.S., with all the power that it's had, the reason it's been so successful is that it has also tried to help people hold up, a democracy, let people vote. It's been
Yes.
around for a long time because we're not behaving like the Romans were behaving when they destroyed their own empire by just taking things, because they felt like it.
Look
That's
at
what you don't
Napoleon.
do.
Look at yeah. They those type of people always fall. Look at
Exactly,
Hitler.
exactly.
They always fall.
Exactly, but you can't expect. I mean, you have to be sensible and realize no country is going to be a utopia. Where if you are that much of a utopia, you probably are not that powerful a country. That's just like
Well, they definitely got their hands off the throat of the natives, except Trump's back in office now, wanting this and that. But they give monies towards the tribes to help them build up their health care and do their thing. They're a sovereign nation. That I do love. But, I was raised by a mother who was in the middle of all that, being taken by the white man and told you think my way or don't think at all. And that depression, that energy with all the family members, it was
Mhm.
palpable.
Mhm.
There was no, oh, Linda, you're Native American. Oh, was it wonderful being that? No, it wasn't. It was sad. It was
Yeah. Well,
heartbreaking. The
and this, by the
stories.
way, this is why Churchill was correct when he said democracy is a terrible system except for all the other systems. Because if you look at democracies like the U.S., Canada, Europe, they try to be accountable to the people that they conquered. They don't just say, if it's
Yes,
Russia, do you
yes.
think in Russia that Putin cares if some group says, hey, you guys came in here and you took our
No, he's
thing in
careless.
Siberia? They'll put you in Siberia if you say that, right? They'll put you in the gulag. So, but it's not perfect by any means. There's no
No,
utopia.
even the Catholic Church, horrible atrocities. Even the way they treated the tribes, even the way they were kind of with Hitler because they didn't like the Jews either. But the those popes thought they were kings and all the terrible things. But now they're turning around and they got this great pope and they're trying to stand up for justice. It's a beautiful thing to watch.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're, this is the whole thing too, that if you redeem, if you do something good, even if people mistrust you because of what you did in the past, it's
Yeah.
obviously better. I mean, it's like the thing with MTG. So when I said a few things about MTG, uh, people said, "Oh, I'll never trust her." That's not the point. The point is that take what you can
Saw
get.
the light.
It's much better that she's saying what she's saying because it's almost like they're anticipating, oh, she's just faking. Just watch. She's
Yeah.
going to go back and be in MAGA again. I don't know. All I know is that right now, I prefer that than what she was doing.
She
She
still
was,
thinks in some of the lines of MAGA, but
sure.
she admitted and she lost her seat. She didn't lose it. She stepped out because she knew she was going to lose.
Yeah. Well, although she didn't have to do what she did
Yeah.
because she could have just continued
Well,
to
maybe
support
her
Trump.
life was being threatened all the time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I truly think Fetterman, besides getting money from Israel, I think Fetterman had that stroke, and I do think it changed the way he thought. It's not the same person anymore.
It's possible. Yeah. He's one of the more controversial senators for sure. But I mean, this is like when we had, remember the guy from Virginia, what was the guy's name?
Oh, Manchin?
Mentioned too, and
Oh,
he
he
would
was awful.
cause problems. But for the most part, he did vote with Biden. In
Yeah.
fact, I remember the thing that really upset Mitch McConnell because he thought that Manchin was going to help them out, and then at the key moment, he completely did the opposite, and that's how Biden passed that big legislation, and they were really upset. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, so I mean,
You see who's being escorted in by a wheelchair now?
who's that?
McConnell.
Oh yeah, no, McConnell is this thing that happened to him recently. You could see it in the chart, and
It's not
it's
good.
it's not good. No, it's not good at all. No.
Well,
All
there's a
right.
lot
Well,
of the geriatrics are going to leave.
yeah, that's true. That's the other thing. That's the era that we're in. You notice that it's been that topic has been so front and center because we now have had two presidents that are they're past their
Prime.
their prime, their efficacy. There are people this age that, like for instance, I don't think if Bernie had become president, even at the age he's in, he doesn't look like someone that
He's
is
someone
lost.
that would, and
No,
Hillary too.
Hillary too. Yeah, exactly. But in the case of Trump, he's been declining for years already. When in his first term, listen to Trump talk 2005, 2000. He was a totally different person. He used to have more words. His words,
Yeah.
he says he has the best words. That's because he only has like whatever, 10 or 12 that he keeps repeating. And then he finds one that he likes and he'll repeat it all. He'll say obliterated or he'll say affordability, like he's discovered a new word. It's hilarious. So this is funny, but what's not funny is that we've been in a zone where presidents that are too old have I think been in
It's
charge.
time to move on. And includes who's in the Senate and stuff. A lot of these old farts got to go. And I'm an old fart, and I can say, see ya, let the kids take over. Let the young minds take over.
Yeah, agreed. But we're gonna have to be patient and go one step
Step
at a
by
time.
step. Okay.
Because it's always safest and things that stick. You go through the proper channels, which for democracies, it's elections. If you start telling me that there was this thing and there was shooting on the streets and now we've got a new thing, I'd be going, really? Like, how does that work?
Yeah.
Explain it to me because it's so much better when, especially if the people say no to something, right? Then
Right.
things tend to stick. And then the next level that would be great is when we get out of this zone that we're in that matches the Civil War in the 1860s and the country's so divided. It'd be so helpful if both parties start to agree more, because the only way you can get good legislation is when both sides agree, and then it sticks
Yeah.
and can hold. Otherwise, they keep, they bring in something, the other party takes it away, then you go back and forth like that, and nothing ever gets done.
So I did a master spread and I did this pendulum just before we came on, just to double check. And I don't see Armageddon type stuff. That's bad enough. The bombs that are going off. But I do see some other nations very mad at it, at Iran. It could be Saudi Arabia, but I see money being thrown towards the United States, so they'll do something towards Iran. But I don't see Armageddon right now.
One last person that I'll tell you before we sign off that he keeps being mentioned as kind of in the background is Kushner. His problem is next year, not
Okay,
this
thank
next
you.
year. Yeah,
I was wondering.
but I don't know why though. No, I don't know what the problem is, but it'll probably be that they'll expose some
Him
money.
getting all that money, and
Yeah.
he got that money from them for showing where how do you say his name? Khashoggi,
Because the guy that they murdered.
Washington Post, he revealed his whereabouts.
Wow, awful.
So I never understand. And you know how much you want to bet the United States is paying them some money to accompany people out for these meetings.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, at the moment, in the U.S. government is just completely shameless. They're just ripping off the taxpayers. They're just running deals in the background. Crypto this, $1 billion for that. It's ridiculous. It's just
taking our jets and going to the take personal jets and going to the Olympics and saying it was business.
yeah. I'm tracking that guy because I don't know his birth time, but I'm tracking to see. There's like a zone where his moon can be, and by when it gets worse, I think I'll be able to figure out his birth time. Patel. Already it's pretty bad, but if it fades and then it comes back heavy, then I'll have a better idea.
Well, here's my hit. I got a hit just the other day doing a show, and I felt them saying you're fired. So I don't know if something else is coming up, but I actually see Trump say you're fired.
Patel? Oh, yeah, that's and then when he says that, Patel will go, really?
Well, back in the day when he was first president, Trump used to fire people that were spending our money and making a fool out. Trump didn't like people spending more money than he was spending.
Yeah, but back then there were people that were not totally loyal to him. These people, the reason he doesn't fire them is they do what he says. They
know too much.
They know too much, yeah.
All right, my friend.
All right. Let's convene again soon. We might have another war to talk about.
Oh my God.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.